What is going on today, everybody? Welcome back to another Fix It Garage video. Today, we are back on the budget Civic. If you guys don't remember, we bought this Civic for $100 and we are fixing it up to eventually sell it to somebody that is in need of a better, more reliable vehicle. In the first videos, we went ahead and we rebuilt the engine, which is now done. The motor work, finished. The only other thing we might have to do under the hood is a clutch replacement and some fluid services, but the engine is finished. Today, we're going to start tackling some of the other little gremlins that we have, like the tie rods and the windows not working and the door locks not working. Today, we're going to be doing a bunch of diagnosis and some repairs, and I'm going to walk you guys through some of this diagnostic process so I can show you guys what we find and how we're gonna fix it. The first thing we're going to do though, we are going to go ahead and swap out these worn out tie rods for some brand new fresh units from Rock Auto. Picked up a couple tie rods from Rock Auto. We're gonna go ahead and smack these things on and we will take it to my work to do an alignment at a later date once the car is ready to be driven. First thing we need to do to replace these tie rods, go ahead, jack the car up on one side, get the wheel off, and I'll show you guys how we replace a set of tie rods. All right, so we got our wheel off and right here is our outer tie rod. These are what are clunking back and forth that are causing the noise when turning. So there's only two things you need to remove. The bottom nut and the jam nut needs to be taken loose and you can spin it off. So what I am going to do to help make this a little bit easier when we put it back together is I put a piece of tape here. That way that marks about where this needs to be. So then I don't have to, that way my toe isn't really out of whack. I want it to be close. Obviously you still need to do an alignment. We're gonna mark that. Then what we'll do is we'll actually break this loose and then we'll break this bottom nut loose right there. And then we'll hit this knuckle right here with a hammer and that will knock this tie rod end loose so we can remove it and install a new tie rod end. And our old one is off, and now we're ready to install the brand new tie rod. We've got our brand new tie rod right here, ready to install. We just do the opposite of what we did when we took it off. We just put it on and thread it back in. Tie rod change done. Let's move over to the other side and knock it out real quick. Alrighty guys, so you can see we got this tie rod on, but the issue is the clunk is still present. Our inner tie rod is worn. Now I have some brand new inner tie rods, so I'm gonna set you guys up real quick. We're gonna get the boots loose and out of the way, and we're going to go ahead and replace those inner tie rods as well to go. So we'll have brand new inner and outer tie rods. All right, just like that, we've got our inner tie rod out on the driver's side, and you can see it's pretty crusty and worn out. So probably a good thing we're replacing both of them. I marked where the outer tie rod bolted to it before. So what we'll do is we'll transfer this tape to our new tie rod, install it, the boot, and we'll have the inner tie rod all done. All right, so here's our brand new tie rod. Tape is on it. This threaded portion is a little bit longer on this tie rod as far as they gave us more threads, but the length of it is the same. Brand new aftermarket tie rod. Let's go ahead and reinstall this. Very important to use this guy when you reinstall it. It's got these little pieces that slot. It's got these little pieces on here that slot into the steering rack up there. There's notches. This slots into them and locates it. So let's install this, our tie rod, and this side will be all done. So we got one tie rod, inner tie rod replaced. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just knock out the other side and I'll let you guys know when I'm all done. All right, and just like that, look at that, brand new tie rod also on the passenger side. And the best part is now I can grab this and there's no more knocking noise from that tie rod. Here's our old tie rod, and as you can see, it should not be this loose. This is very worn. This joint is done. It's been destroyed. So it's a good thing we replaced it. Now we have these nice brand new ones. So now the steering system is safe. We just need to give it a 4-wheel alignment. But for now, this part of the project is done and we can move on to the next thing. Alrighty guys, so we've got the tie rods, inner and outer, all done. That was not fun, but now we can go ahead and do an alignment and it doesn't make any more clunking. Next, we're going to take care of that brake issue that I showed you guys with the master cylinder leak and the rear wheel cylinders. So let's go ahead and start tearing the car apart, replacing all the brake system. So you can see all the bubbling in the paint there at the bottom of this master cylinder. That is a good sign that the brake master cylinder has been leaking. So we're going to go ahead and replace it. The other thing we're going to change is those wheel cylinders. I don't know if they're leaking. I haven't pulled them off and looked at them, but it's pretty common for rear wheel cylinders to leak. So we're going ahead and replace it. That way we don't have any leaks in our brake system. So we have a nice solid brake system. First thing we're gonna start with those, we're gonna start with the master, replace that, then we'll replace the wheel cylinders. So let's get right into unbolting that master cylinder. All right, so we got the old master cylinder out and you can see all of this back here. This thing was definitely leaking. If we take it over here and look in here, you can see all that rust in there. This master cylinder was leaking and eating the paint on the booster. A lot of guys would probably put a new booster in it, but when I test drove it, the booster feels fine, so we're not going to worry about the booster. But we've got our new master cylinder here. All we need to do is swap this piston from this one over to this one, and it should be good to go.
Okay, so I'm cutting in right here because I'm currently talking about how these two master cylinders are different, but it's okay. Well, as it turns out, when we finished, it's not okay. The brake master cylinder that I was given when I bought it was for a non-ABS car, and this car has ABS. It's very important when you order parts to order them by VIN to make sure that you get the right parts, and that way if they ship you the wrong part, it's very easy to set up a return or a switch out for the correct part. We did switch this out for the correct master cylinder and bleed it, and everything worked correctly. So just wanted to point that out. It was the wrong master cylinder. We got the right one, and it now works perfectly fine.
All right, so right here is the back side of our brand new wheel cylinder. This side is all done. We're gonna go ahead and just knock out the other side and check back in with you when everything's done.
Done.
All right, both the rear wheel cylinders are changed. It is now time to go ahead and bleed the brakes. So we're gonna just go ahead and do that. Biggest thing is it helps when you have 2 people. Fill up the master cylinder, have them pump the pedal, and then you open one line at a time, you go around the car. Look up what the manufacturer says for the order of bleeding. On this car, it is left front, right rear, left rear. That is the order of bleeding for Hondas. I think it's for all Hondas, actually, it's that way. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start bleeding these brakes. Brakes are now bled. My advice when you're bleeding the brakes, if you replace the master, always start by bleeding your master either on the bench or in the car first, and then bleed the brakes in the order that you were supposed to. So in this case, it was left front, right rear, left rear. So now our brakes are fully bled and we can move on to the next thing. So the issue with the door locks and windows not working primarily comes from this harness right here. Now I've already peeled it back and checked the wires in there. A lot of them are actually broken. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the door off and we're going to repair the wiring. That will also allow us to change out this very worn out door hinge that doesn't work right. So we're gonna replace the door hinge and fix the wiring and go ahead and put this door back on. Now that we found the issue with the driver's door and all of those broken wires, we need to pull the door off on that side, and we're also gonna do the other side at the same time so we can fix everything. Well, the best way to pull off those doors is to go ahead and remove the front bumper, the headlights, and the fenders. So we're going to start off by removing the front end of the car so we can get those doors off and rewire them. Alrighty, so we got the whole front end torn apart, and good news, we put that door back on because we had to park it outside while we waited for parts, and it looks like we won't have to take it off again because we can just rewire it right here, and then we can start messing with the door and realigning it. So when we open the door, it doesn't, fall like it does. We want to line it up so the door, when it shuts smooth, and I don't have to force it shut. It should be more like this guy, opens and shuts nice and easy. So we're gonna work on getting this door fixed, rewiring this one, and because of the age of the car, we're gonna rewire this one as well. There's no broken connector wires that are pulling out, but there's definitely ones that are about to break. So the best option is to go ahead and repair this one as well. So we have 2 solid brand new harnesses here. All right, so in order to fix these doors, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can depin that entire broken connector and then repin it with new wires, but it's really time consuming and it's just, you're working with really old crusty wiring. Option B is actually a local company in Oregon called Versatile Wiring. They make these complete rewired pigtails for the doors. The colors are not correct, but that's irrelevant because we're gonna go off of these nice wiring diagrams that they provided me with, which are the actual Honda wiring diagrams in case you were wondering. So they give you the wiring diagrams, they give you a little bit of information because some of the wires might be the exact same color and there's a way to figure out what it is for depending on the car. So great kit, comes with everything you need, comes with butt connectors, the pigtail, a wiring diagram, and they were even nice enough to throw in this awesome lanyard that just says wired in the PNW, which we'll probably put that on. I'll use it for a car or something, but nice little lanyard. So let's go ahead, let's start rewiring this driver's side door.
They sent us snacks too.
One other thing that I forgot that they threw in snacks. Any company that throws snacks in their boxes, you're all right. Anybody who I buy stuff from, if you throw in snacks, you become one of my favorite companies to buy things from. Alrighty guys, so it is the next day here, and here is our Civic back outside. It got a little dark, so I just wanted to get the thing parked, forgot to film it all finished for you guys. So here is the finished product, all rewired as you just saw in the time lapse. Rewired, everything looks back to factory for the most part. You can see over here we had to do some electrical tape work, but other than that, looks as good as factory. The loom is definitely a lot harder to reinstall because you have all those butt connectors that are sealed in there, but it turned out perfect. We also realigned our door. So look at that, beautiful. Door shuts perfect. All right, so on the inside of the car, we still have everything all torn apart. And of course I forgot the keys, or I'd show you, but we got all the windows working now after we rewired it. That back window that's all taped, yeah, that was not working at all. And then the other windows over here weren't working at all. We had no windows working, and that's because all the wires were busted over there. So the windows now work. The power mirrors on both sides now work correctly. They would only go in one direction, not the other. Again, the wires that were broken. The only issue we are still having is with our door locks, which we are going to diagnose in the next video because I'm very confident that it is no longer a wiring issue. But I'm going to show you guys some of the diagnostic stuff that we can do to prove that it is not a wiring issue. In the next video, we're also going to be throwing a clutch inside of this car and fixing a few little odds and ends that we need to button up, like this sunroof, that sun visor that won't, yeah, we're going to work on that. And that should be all of the repairs done. The goal for the next video is to have this thing fully fixed so that all that's left is test driving and detailing. And we're gonna detail it before we test drive it because I've got hopefully a neat test drive video when we're all done. But that is for another day. As always, I wanna thank everyone for watching. If you like what you saw, don't forget to smash that like button. Leave some comments and thoughts down below on this budget Civic. It seems like we're doing a lot of work, but trust me, right now, as far as budget-wise, we're not in it for as much as you think. So I cannot wait to reveal the total price when we're all done, but gotta finish the car first. And as always, if you don't wanna miss any future Fix-It Garage videos, make sure you subscribe so you guys catch all of my latest videos, especially with this budget Civic. I've got another project coming up after we get this Civic done. I've got a little quick one video project and a reveal of something new that I have. So we'll show you guys the new thing that we bought and we'll do a little project on it and then we can start using it. But I've already said too much without saying enough. So thank you guys all for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video.